July 30th, we just got through summer commencement. On my right is Polk, who was awarded the Outstanding Alumnus Award at Central University and also acted as commencement speaker. On my furthest right is Grant Thorpe, Professor of Art at East Central, not Ed Gettinger, Professor of Art at East Central University. And we'd like to ask Mr. Smith a few questions. You can talk a little bit, and so forth and so on. And I think I'll start with a question. I don't know exactly what type of questions you'd ask, but in the commencement speech this morning, he talked about people being curious. You want to charge the graduating seniors with the idea that they ought to go out and be curious people. I'm kind of curious myself about what do you mean by this being curious?
Oh, I don't think that I said curious of people, but I meant people. I meant curious about everything.
That's what I keep referring to.
One could be curious about a mud puddle with some water there and a drop of oil on top of it, and sun shining on it. It's like a rainbow, all colors there. You'd be curious about it. You stop, you look, you wonder. I think every moment of our lives there's something to be curious about, and instead of sitting with our minds in neutral. And I said that there's no intelligence without curiosity. Children are born with curiosity, but it's usually killed off at the time they're 6. But they always want to know, and they're curious about everything. And one should be that way, I think, throughout life.
I've always thought that public education sometimes kills curiosity.
Sort of discussion and creativity.
We deal with teaching people how to go out and teach art, and that word creativity is always there. And I think that's the one thing that we don't teach our teachers to be, and we don't teach them to look for and develop in young kids. And I don't know if it's their fault or our fault or if it's the whole system's fault, this idea of creativity in society or creativity in young people. Do you see things from the world that you live in that might contribute, or would be ways that we could work with it more effectively?
Well, it's a very obvious. How many schools have you ever been in that have the word aesthetics in the vocabulary? And has anyone ever taught? Really, a few specialized institutions, perhaps universities, that taught aesthetics and try to write about it, try to explain it, and so on and so forth. But aesthetics should be a very common thing. I think that children in the lower grades should hear the word and know that there's something inside of them that has a special meaning and feeling of interpreting life, which goes on into all of the art.
There's something that happened in your career where you went to East Central and went to course in art drawing, right?
Well, you see, when I was at East Central, there was only one teacher in the art department, but they had enough courses listed to get a major. So you need a course in drawing. There's no one to teach drawing. Go out and do us some drawings and show them to us at the end of the term, and we'll pay you. I was working with a classmate, and he was teaching tumbling and acrobatics and tap dancing downtown over one of the hardware stores. And I worked with him in that. I've done some tumbling and acrobatics and tightrope, rope walking. And he had a lot of students, and I was always sketching students from life, and I got pretty good at it. There were only 3 of us enrolled in drawing that term. The other 2 fellows, they each did, they copied with pencil a photograph of their mother and grandmother. They got B's and I got an F. Now, you just figure that out for yourself.
Word creativity.
Well, you see, I was creating a little bit. They were trying to copy, and I was trying to do something from life. And, well, I'm not going to say anything about it.
I always laugh about that. I got kicked out of art in high school. And also in 8th grade, I used to draw in class all the time. And the teacher came through and grabbed my drawings. And eventually she pinned them all up on the board above my head with a pink slip. It meant one more drawing. And I had 2 weeks suspension. So I kind of laughed and said, you want the drawing class. And all that encouragement. I thought I had the same kind of encouragement. Maybe there's some hope for along the line. But that's the kind of thing that kind of scares me, I guess, when you talk about creativity. There really isn't any reward for it in the educational system, or if somebody tried to be creative sometimes. It seems like you get slapped down for it.
Well, because of what you're doing, they think it's something dirty, 4-letter word. I don't think this is not quite, but they take it to be that. And if you don't understand something, it feels safer to put it below them rather than say it's something. It's like, I think, a teacher, if she has a child of a great intellect, it's above his. He'll say, well, this is sort of moronic because he doesn't understand this intellect. This child is rather moronic. We just pass him along each year. Well, it's a genius. So he's not going to say, I don't understand that intellect, but maybe it's above mine. And in my hour-long talk that John had prepared, I brought that out, that I discovered very early in teaching that there were many intelligence, different types of intelligence that children each had their own individual thumbprint, and there is the mind print also. And we can't understand all of these, and how foolish it is to give children the IQ test and put it down on paper and tell the teachers this is this child's intelligence quotient, and to tell the parents. They don't know a damn thing about it. And it can ruin a child's life, even ruin the whole family. And they're usually very, very stupid people who are giving those tests. They have narrow minds. You can't tell them anything. And there should be a law against it.
That same idea of the materialistic angle at it here sometimes. If you take away the IQ test and some of the other formats we use, we don't have a whole monetary system, material system for these people that couldn't do anything else. You plug your answer into my plug, make sure it fits my plug. Yeah.
Well, get your plug out of my way.
I don't like grand answers.
Which teachers in your experience, both in Oklahoma and in New York, particularly inspirational for you?
Well, here, there was a professor, Mr. Malloy, who taught Middle English. I wasn't particularly interested in Middle English, but he was such a wonderful teacher. He was a great inspiration. And I took these courses with great interest because of him. And he was a poet, and I had never known a poet before. And I just liked everything about him. And he said his poetry was not to be published, I forgot what he said, 25 or 50 years after he died. There was another professor in the English department, Miss Watt, Reed Loving Watt. She was quite an inspiration too. I don't know if you just wanted to say who they were or why.
I'm interested in Ann Kaufman. Did you come into contact with Ann Kaufman at all?
Oh yes, I knew Ann Kaufman and his wife.
He seems to be so instrumental in the development of abstraction in the country, and really educating and inspiring a whole generation of artists.